Madra, John, Nad, and Juanito sitting in the doorway of my tiny house in Akumal, Mexico. It's Sunday. In Mexico, they call this domingo, the Lord's Day. It is the Sabbath, although in Spanish, sábado is Saturday, and Sunday is domingo, the Lord's Day. I want to make some comments about Sundays and the Lord's Day and keeping the Sabbath. When I was young in the U.S., there were blue laws that stores could not open on Sundays. You couldn't sell cars. The car dealerships were all closed. Lots of places couldn't do business on Sundays. Of course, when I was young, there was no fast foods. I remember I grew up in the western suburbs of Chicago, where the McDonald's headquarters is. And when I was a kid, I remember the first McDonald's restaurant, the first fast food place, and how wild and crazy that was. So a lot of changes in the course of my life. Certainly, Sundays in the U.S. ended up being very busy days for lots of people. Often lots of shopping, uh, going to the big box stores, going to Walmart, going to all the different stores. My first year of travel, 2020, the first big year of the COVID, I moved from Asheville, North Carolina, up into the mountains north of Asheville, what I call deep Appalachia, or the high mountains of western North Carolina. All that area which has been so devastated by storms back at the end of September. What I discovered out in Appalachia was that people kept the Sabbath. Lots of them were not really religious anymore. They didn't necessarily go to church, but they tended not to shop on Sundays. They tended to spend Sunday with family or in nature, walking, hunting, fishing. It was a very slow day in Appalachia, and I loved that a lot, and I adopted that for myself, to keep the Sabbath, to have Sunday be a slow day. Now, I often refer to Akumal here, the humble little pueblo where I've been since September 19th, so that's 4 months now. I often refer to it as a place where nothing happens. Compared with, it's in between Playa del Carmen in the Riviera Maya, which is a super bustling town, very exciting city of 300,000 people, incredible nightlife, ocean playground for the world. Lots of people are saying it is now what Acapulco was in the U.S. in the 40s through 60s of the 1900s. Really, really exciting place to party, where people come from around the world. And there are expats in Playa del Carmen from all over the world, and lots of tourists. And then 30 minutes south of Playa del Carmen is Akumal here, which barely has a Wikipedia page. It mostly says, well, it's the place where you can snorkel with the tortoises. And that's true, the tortugas, the tortoises. And that is what it's known for. And there's a beautiful bay here where I did have one snorkeling lesson that absolutely blew my mind. I couldn't believe that here I was in my late 70s, and it was the first time I ever really opened up that underworld world. 1 hour lesson, and I was stoned for 3 hours. It was so exciting and so beautiful, and I got to see the tortoises close enough to touch them, and they really emphasized, do not disturb them. They very peacefully graze on the seagrasses that grow in that bay. It's wonderful. So that's what Akumal is known for, but that's the resorts. That's down by the water. I'm up in the Pueblo, the other side of the big highway. And there's actually a pretty disturbing social development where 10 years ago, when the whole coast of the Riviera Maya exploded with resorts and private outfits coming in, Hilton's putting up resorts, American and international chains and Mexico chains, just gobbling up the shoreline. There was a period of time where there was protests, where there were sit-ins, that people from the Pueblo, they used to own the beach. They could swim anywhere, and now they didn't even know where they could get in. And I understand that legally they're supposed to be entranceways every several meters or frequently. But actually, in actual fact, the people here in the Pueblo mostly do not even know a way that they can get into the beach and swim. There are ways, and there are some people here who know how to do it, but mostly not. Mostly it's tourists, expats, wealthy expats, and people staying at the fancy hotels down there and resorts. So that's Akumal. And then 30 minutes by Colectivo bus south of here is Tulum, which is really exploding. In my Google feed, piece came across from the Washington Post travel section about Tulum. 10 years ago, it was just for backpackers. Now it is one of the go-to destinations in Mexico, and it is wildly exciting. So Akumal, no. Akumal, the Pueblo here is poor and slow and quiet at all times. But I'm really noticing today more than ever that on Sundays, especially my end of the Pueblo, which is 6 blocks north of Main Street, so quiet. Most weekdays, I love to watch the moms, grandparents, older kids taking the kids to school in their school uniforms. There's lots of activity, lots of scooters, cars. No, it's been quiet. It's like after 10 now. I shot a video at 8 about mindfulness and quiet, which is one of my specialties. And then I spent 2 hours documenting that and where should I promote it, because this is one of the products I'm going to be offering here in Akumal, but now I realize I'm moving on to Tulum, so especially in Tulum. So now it's 10:30 and I'm just about to shoot another tip for how to enter into the silence. But before I shot it, I realized, do you realize how different this day is than all the other days? It is so slow and quiet. And it's wonderful. It supports me. It's something I've been trying to do for 5 years, is to keep Sunday. Well, you can't go to a big box store in Akumal. Akumal, you have to go down to the resort to even find an OXXO convenience store. There are no chain stores in this town. It's all local. And it's sweet, and I love it. I love it, and it's been so peaceful and such a happy place for me that I've been saying I wasn't going to leave. But then I realized there's almost no English speakers here. You want to offer classes in ecstatic dance and stress management and trauma release. You don't have an audience in this town. You have to go to Tulum. And Tulum is a place where there's a whole Facebook group called Conscious Events. There are really, really interesting and thoughtful people in Tulum, and you have to move. So I'm relishing my time here because Tulum is almost too exciting for me. This has been so great for my nervous system. So I'm drinking in every minute that I'm still here. So that's my note about Domingo, the Lord's Day, a day of rest and quiet. And I've been working with my videos, but in such a slow, quiet way. And they've been videos about quiet and rest, so it fits.